You can rest your hands in your lap as you like. And when you lengthen up through your spine, take your gaze inward and downward. So these two directions exist. One inward for refuge, and the other upwards and outwards for connection or remembering the larger teachings of yoga to which we are like hooking up right now. And then let your breath be the sort of mediator or the communicator between those two things. So you can come into the sense of refuge during your inhalation or your exhalation. You decide. If when you're inhaling, you feel like you're coming back into yourself, then use the inhale for coming in for refuge. If you have a sense that during the exhale, you're getting more connected to yourself or more grounded, then use your exhale. And vice versa, for that sense of connection to that which is larger than you, like the teachings of yoga, the natural world, your Sangha, you can use either inhale or exhale. So you set your mind in this gentle intention, this place of clarity or commitment, and let the breath then infuse that into your body. And then notice what happens in your inner experience when you bring at least a visual sense that you're here with others, with dozens of others who are practicing right now. What happens to the level of your commitment or the felt sense you have of your purpose for being here this morning? And then please bring your hands together at your heart. And this morning we'll chant the Gayatri Mantra. We say Om Bhur Bhuva Suvaha Tat Savetur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. We are respecting all the realms of the earth, the sun, and the heavens, and may this practice help us to remember that there is an intelligence infusing everything, that there is already a beauty infusing everything, including us. Let's begin. Om Bhur Suvaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhur Suvaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhur Suvaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. With your exhale, you may bow your head to your heart. And release your hands and open your eyes. And let's come up to standing. And let's see if I can get this myself. I think I can do it. I'll have to do it this way. Let's see. Here we go. Oh, sorry. I don't have a host this morning, so I'm making my way here. Pardon me for a moment. I have to search for my phone in here and turn the video on. Okay. And then spotlight. There we go. Okay, please come up to standing. Sorry, I got my cord tangled, you guys. I tangled a cord around a physio ball. Okay, when you come up to standing, please place your feet to their hip distance apart. Reach back and interlace your fingers like this at the small of the back. And then press your shoulders back towards the wall behind you, and do that from the shoulder joints, right? Not from the elbows, not from the wrists, but from the shoulders. I have to come up. Oh, thank you, Marlene. Thank you. I appreciate that. So when you take the shoulders back like this, try to sense if one shoulder moves more than the other. Quite likely that is the case. None of us are symmetrical. And I'd like you to roll the right shoulder back specifically and turn your head to your left. And then take the breath from the base of your pelvis upwards through the inner body and into the upper right chest, collarbone, shoulder blade. And then exhale, bring your head to center, roll your left shoulder back a tiny bit more and turn your nose to your right, deeply to your right. And when you press back with your left shoulder, take the breath from the base of the pelvis upwards into your chest and your heart. Left collarbone, left shoulder blade. And taking a breath in again, then exhale, rotate around to center. Release the clasp of the arms and let them swing. Let them be totally free. They're going to get still, no worries. Notice what runs down the arms and shoulders there. Now we're going to do a sort of vigorous pranayama. These are really called kriyas. So we're going to have the inhale, the arms go up. The exhale, the arms will come down. So when the arms go up, this might seem sort of counterintuitive. We're actually going to take the arms up and sit down like this. So this is inhale. This is exhale. Right? So let's do it together. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale the arms up. And exhale, come down to Uttanasana. Keep the legs strong, make the torso like a rag doll so you can kind of get to know what is the experience of the inner body and the spine, your lungs and your breath. Keeping the legs steady, observe what happens in your torso, in your breath, in your shoulder blades. Now make 2 fists and you're going to gently make this, it's called tapotment, at the back of the calves. Go on the lower calves first. The outer calves too. Now to the upper calves. Outer calves as well. And come up to the outer thighs. And the back of the thighs. And the front of the thighs. Scooch the feet out a little bit and go to the inner thighs. Down to the inner calves. Up to the thighs and then to the back of the hips. And then gently come up to stand. Let your arms dangle. Turn the toes out. Bend your knees a little bit. This is called horse stance. And now the hands are fists when we go back and fingers when we go forward. Five, four, three, two, one. Let the arms swing until they're still. Now again, we're going to inhale and go up. And then make the feet parallel and come down to this ragdoll version. So I want the legs to be strong again. Just observe what happens with the torso. What is happening with the inner body? Press your feet firmly down into the yoga mat. Energize your leg muscles. And then come up to standing. And in your horse stance now, turn the toes out so your horse stance is getting wider. Bend your knees, come down. Press the inner thighs out. Yeah. And gently bow your head. And let's come back now to breathing in. So you have a sense, either the inhale for you is for refuge in the inner body, or a sense of connection to the larger practice, your community, the tradition. And then the exhale is for the other. When you go inside and you imagine the quality of refuge, like taking refuge in your inner wisdom, in your body's intelligence, taking refuge in that which you know to be most deeply true about you. There is an inner love or grace, a commitment. And when you connect to the tradition, to that which is larger, try to get a sense of how that shifts the experience you have in your body. You turn your left fingers in and twist to your right. So when you're twisting, try to keep both arms straight so that the twist really is, it's the spine. It's not that you're bending one elbow and then the other, sort of pretending to twist in a certain direction. As you're twisting to your right, keep the inner thighs long and the breath again. Either inhale for connecting to the larger tradition or to your inner refuge, and exhale for the other. And then rotate to center and let's twist to the left. So you're going to turn your left fingers in, twist to your left, look over your left shoulder. Lengthen the inner thighs and allow the breath to come down into your pelvis, pelvic floor, the deep low belly. And then come around to center. Press into both heels. Straighten your legs. Now we're going to use this horse stance for a vigorous exhale to go out through the mouth. And that exhale through the mouth is like blowing out one big candle. Like that. So this is a little bit like Qigong and martial arts and yoga put together. So bend your knees, please. And you're going to plan one arm pulls back, one pushes forward like that. And we go side to side. So let's begin. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now keep the knees bent. Inhale, take the arms up. Yes, that is heating. Exhale, bring the hands down to the heart. Inhale, raise your arms up. And exhale, hands down towards the heart. One more time. Inhale, raise your arms up. And exhale, hands down to the heart. Press into both feet. Rise up and let's go heel toe to mountain pose. And then let both arms relax a moment. Now I'm going to ask you to sense if it's possible that that inner refuge is also the outer refuge of the yoga tradition. And if you can sense the tradition as something within you. Now we'll step to Surya Namaskar. So those are some warming practices. We call them kriyas when you're moving the body like that, kind of a cleansing process. And we're going to take this into Surya Namaskar a little bit more as a prayerful practice. So bring your hands to your heart. Root down into all 10 toes and your heels. Tone your leg muscles just enough to sense where your plumb line is. Lengthen up through the crown of your skull. And during Surya Namaskar, try to sense again that the tradition is in you, not really outside of you. And a refuge may have a felt sense it's within, but there's also a refuge in the larger experience. So with that, inhale, raise your arms up overhead, lift your heart, lift your gaze. And exhale, Anjali Mudra down to Uttanasana. Inhale, glide forward, bring your heart forward. Exhale, left toes back. Inhale, rise up, sweep the arms wide. Turn your palms up, lift your gaze. Exhale, hands to the heart and come forward and down. Inhale, float forward, heart forward. Exhale, right toes back. Inhale to rise. Turn your palms up. Lift your heart. Lift your gaze. Exhale, hands to the heart and come forward. Inhale, downward facing dog pose. Exhale, forward to plank pose. Keeping the arms steady, step over one foot. Inhale to upward facing dog pose. Exhale, plank pose. Draw the low belly in. Inhale, downward facing dog pose. And exhale, one foot forward, second foot forward, Uttanasana. Inhale to rise, upward hands pose. Exhale to the heart. We'll continue. Inhale, upward hands pose. Exhale to the heart, forward and down. Inhale, glide forward. Left foot back. Inhale to rise, crescent lunge. Knee to the heart and down. Inhale, step forward, heart forward. Exhale, right toes back. Inhale to rise. Exhale to the heart and down. Inhale, downward dog. Exhale, plank pose. Step over the other foot first this time. Inhale, upward facing dog pose. Exhale, plank pose. Inhale, downward facing dog pose. Exhale, step the other foot forward first this time, then the second foot, Uttanasana. Inhale to rise, upward hands pose. Exhale to the heart. Pausing to listen in your body and inside your practice. Om Bhurva Svaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahhi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayata. Again, rising up, inhale. Exhale to the heart and down. Inhale, glide forward, lift your heart. Left toes back this time, left knee down for Asana. Inhale, rise up. And exhale, hands to the heart and down. Now inhale, step forward, heart forward. Exhale, right toes back and right knee down. Inhale to rise. And exhale, hands to the heart and down. This time inhale, step backwards, downward dog pose. The exhale, plank pose. Keep the arms steady. Step over one foot. Inhale, upward facing dog pose. Exhale, plank. Inhale, downward dog. Exhale, one foot forward, second foot forward. Deep bow to the legs. Inhale to rise. And exhale to the heart. Again, inhale. We'll be using Asana again. So exhale, hands to the heart, forward and down. Inhale, glide forward. Okay, left toes back, left knee down. Inhale to rise. Exhale, hands to the heart and down. Inhale, step forward, please, heart forward. Exhale, right toes back, right knee down. Inhale to rise, Asana. Hands to the heart, forward and down. Okay, downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale, plank pose. Inhale, upward facing dog pose. Exhale, plank. And inhale, downward facing dog. Then exhale, the other foot forward first, then second foot forward. Deep bow to the legs. Inhale to rise, upward hands. Exhale to the heart, Anjali Mudra. Listen for how refuge and connection, they're intermingled. Om Bhurva Svaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayata. Okay, now we're going to begin exploring the work we'll do in the pelvis and the lower back and this whole region of the body. So I'd like you to come down to Uttanasana, and you have 2 blocks here. Let's put the, let me say left or right. Let's step the left foot back first, and I will call this my left foot so that you're being mirrored by me. And then make the block under your right hand tall and the block under the left hand medium. And please straighten both legs. The back heel can be lifted for right now. And I'd like you to inhale and bring your spine into cat pose. Yes, this is asymmetrical. And then exhale and bring your spine into cow pose. So slide your sitting bones back and your heart forward. And then inhale, press down into your arms and your legs, cat pose. And exhale, glide the heart forward, cow pose. Now keeping your right arm strong, inhale to cat pose again. Now without your hips shifting to the side, move your left hip back, pivot your left heel down, and line your left heel up with your right heel. And if you've kept the arms strong and the hips have not sashayed to your right, when you press down into cat pose now, you might discover the left lower back. And from this cow pose, put the block under your left hand aside and let the left arm dangle like the trunk of an elephant. Now root from your outer left hip to your outer heel and begin turning your pelvis to the left. Do not lift the left arm yet. So you're really rotating your pelvis and the torso is following your pelvis. Lengthen the inseam of your right leg into your heel. And when your body feels inclined to, when it feels like, oh yes, that's where we want to go, then raise your left arm to any variation of Trikanasana. Any place that your left arm would most like to be. I do really want to encourage you to keep the legs steady here. So from your right big toe to the inner edge of your right thigh, up to the pubic bone, keep that very strong. From your left outer hip down through your tailbone into your left outer heel, keep that also very strong. And let the torso explore along with your left arm. So it's yours to design based on what your inner feeling is in your body. Om Bhurva Svaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayata. Let's keep all things strong and keep your pelvis rotated to your left, but let the left arm come down for a moment like an elephant trunk and start the process of really slowly reaching your left hand towards the floor.
And I'm asking for slow because I want you to sense how you are unwinding myofascial plane of the back body. You keep the right leg steady, left leg steady. As the left arm gets heavier, the right arm has to stay strong. And then reach back for your block, the medium height block. Return your hand, pivot your left heel up. Please bend your right knee. Let's put the block down so it's easier to step forward with your left foot. Then step back with your right foot. Okay, let's turn the block under the left hand tall, and the block under the right hand can stay medium. And start with both arms straight. I know it's asymmetrical and can feel weird. We'll keep the back heel lifted for now. Then inhale to cat pose. Cat pose spine. And exhale to cow pose. A cow pose spine. Inhale to cat. Notice what kind of movement you have access to in the inner body. And exhale to cow pose. Noticing also where is the movement available in your body. Inhale to cat. And exhale to cow. Keep both arms strong. Slide your sitting bones back there. And now let's inhale to cat pose. We're going to make our transition. So with the left arm strong and without your hips sashaying to the left, slide your right hip back. So you're turning your pelvis. Place the outer right heel down. Set your block aside under your right arm so it dangles like the trunk of an elephant. And then as you press into your left arm, draw your right hip back so the inner left thigh gets longer. And listen inside for what wants to blossom in your body's expression. It can't be determined by me or by someone else in the class, only by your own inner experience. Listen deeply while keeping both legs stable and your left arm strong. Listen for where your body wants movement, expression, attention. Om Bhurbhuva Svaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayata. Let the right arm start dangling again like a hanging plant or the elephant trunk. And slowly reach your right arm towards the floor, right hand towards the floor, but try not to give up any of the stability of the legs. So you're asking for this movement to release the myofascial plane on the back body and to help with rotation of the spine, your thoracic spine, mid-thoracic spine. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And return your right hand to its block. Pivot your right heel up. Put both blocks on the medium setting, please. And step backwards. Downward dog pose. And roll forward. Touch the knees down. Take one block to sit on. Vajrasana, or sometimes called Zazen. So take a seat. Nice job with your improvisation, you guys. You can rest your hands in your lap and listen for where the sense of refuge and connection, they are intermingled. So if you can sense, we take refuge in the inner body's wisdom and intelligence.
but that's not limited to the skin suit that you're in. Its source is coming from somewhere else. We have a connection to the tradition of yoga, but it's also possible that that's infusing your inner experience. Now we're going to take a look at how we stretch the hip flexors, the iliacus, the psoas, the quadratus lumborum, the lats, everything together. So let me demonstrate as a profile view because you'll have an easier time understanding it. And I think what I'll do is I'll go this way. Okay, so if this direction for you guys is to your left, let's see, this is your left. So I will step my right foot forward, which this will be my right leg for the moment. Okay, so I'm going to put these two blocks as a little bench right here. And I want to come forward into Asana so that the left knee is quite a bit back behind the hip. And the right shin can be vertical or slightly forward of your ankle, but not really past your toes. The left forearm is going to come down to the block so that you can hold here. And you can have the back toes pointed if you prefer, or tucked under. And then we're going to begin twisting. So the twist is in the low back, mid back, and the upper back. So twist, your outer left hip can come down towards the floor. And kind of hug the right shin close to your torso so your twist is a little bit snug. I like the left elbow on the block here for stability. You are allowing the left side of the waist to kind of drape down towards the floor. And take a deep breath in. Let's keep the right heel and toes strong. Press into your right knee and now place your left hand on the block and continue the twist. So you're higher up, which means what's going to happen is the amount of side bend from your left hip up the left side waist to your left shoulder, that might increase. You raised one side of the arc, right? You raised the left shoulder. Okay, and then we're going to exhale, untwist, and I'm going to ask you to keep your right hand on your right knee for now. Place your left elbow again on the blocks. And let's go ahead and stabilize the right shin with the left hand. Reach back with your right hand, and there is your left foot. So maybe you feel your quadriceps, but hopefully you also get a sense of where your hip flexors are on the front of your left leg. Now as you twist, you can straighten your right arm a bit if you like, pull your right shoulder back. And then slowly release your left toes to the floor. Take your left hand to your block, press against it, and let's change sides. Just so that I can keep seeing you, I'm going to go to my other side. So then you're going to step forward with your left foot, which is going to be my right foot, but it's going to be called my left foot. So later I have to remind my limbs what they're actually called. So when you take the right knee back, take it back so it's got padding if you prefer. You see that I have 2 yoga mats there. And come down with your right forearm on your blocks. Left hand on your left knee. Wrap your right hand to your left shin. And let's get this twist into the inner belly. Right, there's a sense
of twisting in the spine, but also the inner belly is participating. You can even imagine that the organs get to kind of rotate around the spine, just like a little playful, like they have a little maypole in there. So we do want the left thigh and shin to be snug to the torso. My hope is that that helps you to expand your breath into the back of your waist there. And yes, there is a C curve of your outer right hip kind of draping down towards the floor, but thoughtfully. Now, keeping your left hand firm on your left knee, press your right hand into the block. So you've just raised the upper torso in the twist. And so you can get a sense of that rotation now in your upper back, but this C curve on the right side of the torso and down into your right hip, even into your iliacus muscle, which is a muscle deep inside the ilium bone, which is also called your hip bone. Your pelvic bone, you can say it that way. And then let's rotate back to face a little bit forward. Bring your right forearm down and snug your left shin towards the center line of your pose. Great, reach back, and there is your right foot. And you can roll the left shoulder back to add to the twist. And enjoy a deep breath in. Good morning to the body. You're going to exhale, release your right foot back. Use the blocks for stability. You can press into them and then swing your left foot back. And let's come back to Vajrasana. So you take the block like this to sit on. And in your Vajrasana, take it upright. So you can try to feel what's happening now in the inner body. Om Bhagava Svam Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhagavo Devasya Dhimai Dhiyo yo na prachodayat. Okay, let's take this now into some seated twisting poses. So we're going to be addressing the lower back, and what you want to sit on is what you should sit on. I'm going to take my rolled blanket because I have a preference for it. And so when you take a seat, let's start in Siddhasana, which means you have one heel inside, one heel outside. So let's call this inner heel for me. Let's call that my left heel, and the outer heel my right heel. So left on the inside, right on the outside. And as you sit up straight, notice what's happening in terms of how your hips navigate. When you have the left foot inside and the right foot outside, maybe that's your goofy one, you don't prefer it. So notice what's happening in the pelvis. And then cross your left hand to your right knee. And if you're short in the arm department like I am, you can take a block with you to twist to your right. Now I'd like you to keep the left hip grounded here. And as you're twisting to your right, also keep the right hand reaching far to the left knee, left hand reaching far to the right knee, excuse me. So you actually have to let the upper back, the shoulder blade must participate in the twist. And then start walking the torso just incrementally to the right. So now you're going to keep the left hip grounded, wrap your left hand over the outside of your right knee. So your twist just included a tiny forward bend to your facing to the right side of your room. And keeping the left hip grounded, walk the right hand again, and then the left hand. So maybe your wrist comes over your knee and your fingers find the floor. Please keep the left hip grounded. You are still twisting the upper body to your right. Walk the right hand once more and the left hand once more. Continue the inner twist to your right, and please keep your left hip grounded. And then start walking back up to center. And let's pause to notice. You might feel, I like to say, like a zigzag. Maybe you feel like a barber pole, you know, red and white stripes going around. Maybe you feel like singing. Okay, so let's switch the feet. So right foot on the inside, please. Left foot on the outside. I think they used to sing in barbershops, but I don't know I'll have to get into it later. I'll look for it on YouTube. And cross your right hand over to your left knee, and you can, again, take a block with you. And try to keep your right thigh grounded. So even if this is your goofy foot, if you prefer to sit the other way, I want you to keep the right thigh grounded and reach across. Yeah. And as you're twisting, you have to allow the right shoulder blade to be a part of the twist, the upper back. So let's walk the left hand and the right hand. So you're going towards the left side of your room, but do keep the upper back twisting to your left and your right hip grounded. And keeping the right hip grounded might also mean for you, if you go back to that experience in triangle pose, you were lengthening the inner thigh. We also did that in the jazz dance warm-up pose. And try to keep that reaching out as you now walk the left hand a tiny bit more left. Bring your right hand perhaps over the outside of your left knee. And one more time, the left hand can go a tiny bit more left, and your right hand may come over the outside of your left knee. Twist your upper back to the left, please, and keep the right inner thigh long and your right hip grounded. And then walk this back up to center and see if your barber pole is going the other way. If you feel like you got leveled out there, I hope that's the case. Now keeping the left foot in, take the right leg out to Janusirasana. So when I sit on this, I like to make my blanket a little bit diagonal. I just turned it because my hips are a tiny bit diagonal. You can decide. And I want you to keep the right inner thigh long all the way down to the inner heel. Please point the toes straight up so they don't have to tip in. Okay, now take the back of your right hand around the outside of your left thigh. You might have to hold it there with your other hand to keep it steady. And begin side bending to your right. When you wrap the hand like this over the outer thigh, your side bend is going to include the mid spine and the upper spine. Otherwise, sometimes we only side bend by tipping the pelvis. And I actually want you to keep your pelvis stable. So your side bend is like mid-thoracic, upper thoracic. You can do what's most comfortable for your head. Consider looking down if you need to for your neck. Looking down like this. You can gaze straight on the horizon. You could bring your chin in towards your throat. Listen into your left lower back. And as you keep the legs steady, notice what occurs with the breath and your inner body. Maybe there's tiny bits of surrender or ease that come. Your pose might appear to deepen from the outside. But even without any outer change, the pose can deepen on the inside. So I'm really interested in your left lower back and left side waist. Not so interested how close can you get to your right foot. And let's use the exhale to glide back up to sitting. Now a variation on that pose. Sweep the arms wide. Rotate to your left so your twist. Now your right arm is over your right leg. And then reach out. So this is like a shift in the pelvis. This is really a different pose. You might be someone who can reach your foot like I'm doing. Leave the left arm overhead. And perhaps you come down. This is one of the sort of hand gestures. I don't know if we can call it a mudra all the way, but sometimes we go like this and you turn the hand like so. And sometimes you get to hold the foot with both hands. Breathing in. And then reach your left arm long and use your exhale and your left low belly to come up to sitting. Okay, and let's release on that side. Other side. So you can take the right foot to the inner position, left leg to the outer position. This is called Janusirasana, the seat that we're in right now. Lengthen your left inner thigh towards your heel. Yep. Okay, take the back of your left hand, and believe me, this is not so easy for me. I have shorter arms and a longer torso, and I'm not like a Vata body type. So when you're coming across here, it is something to have the hand get there. And then you can hold it with your other hand, your right hand. And we are side bending the mid and upper thoracic spine. The second pose in this particular sequence is much easier for me because I have flexible hamstrings and my inner thighs are not that tight. So you see a lot of range of motion on that one. You can't see how much work my body is doing inside, what it's navigating in this one. I don't have the same capacity here. So this is my sort of more intermediate, more sensitive pose. The other one looks more intermediate, but for each of us, what is beginning, what is intermediate, what is integration, it's different person to person. You again can decide what to do with your head here. Some people do like to gaze down. Some people prefer to look on the horizon. I like this sort of inward gaze where my head is relaxing to the left, but I do have my chin in towards my throat. You can breathe along the right side of the lower back, mid-back. And then we're going to exhale, rise up to sitting. Now you have your barber pole going on in the body, right? You have your left leg out, so sweep the arms wide and make this like you are twisting a bit to your right already, like this. And then glide out and maybe
the left hand comes over the toes of your left foot, perhaps. Possible si, possible no. Yeah. Okay. And then you may sweep your right arm up alongside your ear. And some of you might choose to take the left elbow down and you hold the inside of the foot. And sometimes you get to hold the foot with both hands. Keep the left leg strong, please, and your right hip grounded. And then glide your right arm back, reach to the right, and exhale. Use your right low belly to pull yourself back up. Good. And release there. And let's take the soles of the feet together for a few moments. It's called Konasana. I'm going to show you this morning in Shavasana how to levitate the sacrum in Konasana. I'm just having this sense you guys will figure it out, even though we're not in the same room, that you're going to figure out the blanket situation. So for now, we're just going to come forward in Konasana. A suggestion that I do have here, excuse me, is if you place your hands on the blanket that you're sitting on, lift the hips and swing the sitting bones back a little bit. Then when you come forward, your pelvis is tipping more forward, and you might find that there's more capacity, but also a little bit more accuracy about where you're bending from. And please rise up to sitting, and let me show you how to set this up for Konasana, to levitate the sacrum in Shavasana. And then we're going to finish class after Shavasana with a pranayama practice and a short meditation. So I'd like you to take your blanket, and because I don't know the length of your blanket, I'm going to recommend that you make it as long as you can. So if I go like this and I open my blanket once more, now I'm going to fold it in half. So this is my extra long blanket. And then I'm going to fold it in half again. And then I'm just going to give it a little roll like this. So I have this long rolled blanket like so. Okay. Now, I just wrapped that across the front of my ankles. And I'm going to lie backwards. And you see I have this extra blanket here to my right and my left. So, excuse me, you pick up the hips and you bring the blanket so that it's right under the outside of the trochanters. Those are the really strong bones where you can feel, here's my trochanter right there. And then there's my sacrum. So you take the blanket into that little crevice between the greater trochanter and the sacrum. And there you are. This part of the blanket, this little extra part, you can just push it out so it's not touching your lower back. But your sacrum is held by the two blankets. The arms can go out to the side. My hope is that the way the blanket wraps, your ankles and outer hips don't allow your knees to go to a painful inner thigh stretch. It should feel relaxing. Okay, so let's put the hands on the low belly. Close your eyes. And invite the inner belly and the pelvis to relax. You do have some gentle pressure of the blanket between the trochanter and the sacrum. Invite those muscles, super important muscles, but invite them to become more supple, a little bit softer, a little bit less tense. And see if the inner groin and the inner pelvis can also consider releasing any unnecessary tension. And rest your attention inside the pelvis, inviting the dissolving, the dissolving, the dissolving, any sense of tension, apprehension, separateness, releasing any sense of isolation. So we return to an inner sense of belonging. Allow your body to deeply release any tension, the habits of apprehension, the habits of flinch, the habits of fight or flight. So welcome your body to continue to release, to resolve. Welcome the quality of heaviness, stillness, And while keeping the inner experience quite simple, press into the outer edges of your feet. Lift your hips just enough to put the blanket now to the outside of the trochanters. And come down so your sacrum will touch the floor. And the thighs, we hope, will be supported by the blanket. So snug them up to the outer trochanter so they don't have to go too far. And then using the deep low belly muscles, the transverse abdominis muscles, raise your knees up slowly and stretch the legs out. The blanket may still cross your ankles, which is fine, and keep it there. Sometimes after Baddha Konasana, people notice a kind of circulation that goes down from the pelvis down through the legs. So be aware of that if that's happening for you. And then you can please bend your knees, and when you're ready to roll to your side, to come up to sit for pranayama. And my hope is that your seat feels really comfortable, that your pelvis feels receptive to the seat. Place the tip of the tongue behind the top two teeth. Let's hollow the back of the throat and listen for the ujjayi sound, the most subtle form of the sound for you. So it's an internal sense and the most subtle sound of the exhale as well. And I'd like you to balance your inhale length with your exhale length. Allow for a brief inhale suspension and a brief and natural exhale suspension. And please complete one more breath cycle. And then allow yourself to sit in the quiet, the echo that may come, even if there's still the flight of birds in your mind, your thoughts. Listen for the sky. You can bring your hands together at your heart. Om Bhurva Suvaha Tatsaveturu Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayata. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you very much, everyone. Namaste.